This show is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Without a healthy mind, being happy can be hard. Visit betterhelp.com/allies to see if online therapy is for you. Hello and welcome to the Easy Allies podcast. I'll be your moderator, Brandon Jones. Joining me this week, panelists Michael Damiani.
How's it going?
Michael Huber.
Streets of Rage.
My fully recovered back in his chair co-moderator, Daniel Bloodworth.
Yep.
And making it all happen in the control room, Isla Hank.
The bouncer.
Speed of the bouncer, you changed your desktop. I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
Oh, someone else changed it. Probably
Oh.
Windows updated.
Windows
Hang on.
update.
I'll fix it.
That's upsetting.
Was that a major villain of the bouncer that was the PC desktop for a while, or was that just some random character? That wasn't a protagonist,
It was
surely.
a main henchman. So
Okay,
not the
yeah.
main big bad, but
Got
like
it.
one of the main.
Definitely a bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
There it is. Thank you. It's back.
No one watching knows what the hell we're talking
No,
about.
I can't. I need you to just go among the henchmen of the game, The Bouncer for PlayStation 2, and make your guesses.
Yeah.
It's a bouncer we particularly enjoy. A bouncer character. Distinguished guests, we're here to discuss some of the biggest headlines in video games this week. But before we do that, we must answer for all of the mistakes, 2 of them, we made in last week's podcast. Isla, begin corrections music, please.
Boop.
The 2DS came out after the 3DS.
I was going to correct you on
My
this.
comparisons indicated otherwise. I wasn't at all talking about like the sequence of time. I wasn't going chronologically by date. I should have specified that. It doesn't matter anyway. I'll totally eat the correction. But we were talking about what the Switch is in relation to the OLED version in relation to the Switch Pro by looking at the DS to the last DS. The new Nintendo 3DS was the last 3DS.
There was one point
that
where you...
progression of quality of console caveman timeline is what I was going by.
It's
not
interesting though because
chronology.
I did the same thing after that, and like looking back through all the different iterations, and it's like, okay, well the Game Boy eventually got the Game Boy Color,
yeah,
and the DS eventually got the DSi, and the 3DS eventually got the new 3DS, but the Game Boy Advance, it was like they did the SP and the Micro, but neither one of those were like any kind of generational upgrade. They were just screen improvements.
It's tough to make wild comparisons like that because obviously every weird console is its own weird thing.
6 versions of the 3DS.
But somebody said I think you meant DS when you said 2DS. I meant 2DS, but I still goofed it at the same time.
Yeah, at one point you were listing them and you said 2DS instead of DS. They were correct. I was going to correct you in real time, but
Damn it!
It wasn't worth it.
Boddicker in RoboCop 2 was Kurtwood Smith, whose name I could not remember. It did not look up. But he was the father on that 70s show, not Malcolm in the Middle, and I didn't hear Malcolm in the Middle until I was cutting the podcast, and I was like, oh, I would have.
Weird, because I knew you were talking about Red also.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
We all pictured the right guy, but
Yeah.
you said the wrong show, I guess.
Because we all know who the dad on Malcolm in the Middle was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. Michael Damiani,
Yo.
what is the Steam Deck? I almost said Stream Deck. I needed to check the word to make sure I didn't say the right.
Do we end corrections music? Or are we still playing?
Oh,
Yeah,
end
corrections.
corrections music, please.
Yo.
Boop. I was going to see how long he
way
went.
too excited
I was
to
gonna
talk
see
about
how
this
long
thing.
he went on it.
All right. Pause for time code. Damiani, what is the Steam Deck?
It is Switch Pro.
Wait, so I can play Mario on this thing?
Maybe.
Hey.
Well,
If you can-
not legally, but
yeah, not legally.
I can play a couple PlayStation games, so I'm happy about that. But some PlayStation Studio stuff is now, portable in a strange way.
Play your Steam games on the go in a portable handheld. Looks just like a Switch, Game Gear, sort of maybe. Doesn't have the detachable
right.
controllers though.
That
That's a
actually
big thing.
does create a cost difference for sure.
Yeah. 3 versions, and I think it's just the storage that's different between the 3, correct?
And the
there's a lot of
high-end
fun
has a
details.
better, glass.
Better glass.
A premium anti-glare etched glass.
Ooh.
Sounds like I'm buying a new car.
That sounds like a
But yeah,
we
so-
have the prices, the price differences.
This is $399 for your 64 gigabyte model. That comes with an embedded multimedia card, not an SSD. And you get a carrying case with that. $529 gets you the 256 gigabyte model, which comes with NVMe Express SSD, faster storage. You get a profile bundle that's basically with Steam. Your Steam profile gets some stuff, plus everything that came before it. $649 has 512 gigabytes, the fastest storage, the premium anti-glare etched glass, and a virtual keyboard theme.
So
everything
300
else
for the
before it.
lowest, and then
400.
400 and
and
650
650
for the
got it.
highest.
Yeah. But like we're talking Steam games, so 64 gigs ain't gonna get you nothing.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna get you
Yeah.
nothing.
And
Fantasy Star Online too. I don't even think it's like 90 gigs.
does come with the SD card slot though, just like a Switch. Switch is micro SD. So this is a normal SD, or is it also micro SD? I wasn't sure either.
I think it might be smaller, but I don't remember. Exactly.
But you can use one or the other to expand your storage on that. But if you're getting one of the better SSDs, you're gonna have to like transfer them back and forth to get the
Micro
advantages. So it is micro.
Yeah, it is
Thank you,
micro.
Isla.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't think the speeds would be exactly the same. So if you want the better, kind of like PS5 thing right now, where you can store games on external storage on a hard drive, but
But
you're
you
not
gotta
getting that.
transfer things back and forth,
Yeah. I wonder if it's gonna be like that.
It's funny, on their website, they show Control, Doom Eternal, Hades, and Ghost Runner. Shout out to Ghost Runner. That's a nice get to be number 4 there. To just right off the screen of the front page. But I wonder if, is that 64 gigs? Does that? I wonder if just those 4 games. What model are we looking at here? I wonder if that's something consumers are going to be aware of. If somebody's like, I want to get my, child the Switch Pro. If people are like nicknaming it this, that, I want to get them something. I've heard them talk about Steam. They get the lower model, and the kid's like, I can't.
The market for this is, it's not even going to be for your kid because
Yeah.
you can buy one per account through Steam. It's going to be a little bit before you see this thing in a store.
So who is this for? If you didn't just answer that question 100%, what's the market? And is it enough to support making a console? Microsoft isn't going to do this.
They're talking like they're committed to this long term, as kind of like a new, slice, below like a regular gaming laptop. And I think that the Switch kind of does prove that, there is a market for people that want to just take the same games they're already playing on the go. They're talking, you can sync the cloud saves between them, of course, through your Steam profile. They're talking about maybe making it so that sort of like Stadia, like a suspend feature can go from the handheld to the other without like closing the game. They're still working on the technicalities of that.
Nice.
No.
Yeah, we went way past it. Control is 42 gigs, Doom Eternal's 50 gigs, and Ghost Runner's 22 gigs. It's not happening.
No.
Yeah, you want at
One at
least
a
that
time.
mid-tier model. Yeah, I think.
Thank you for that,
especially-
Isla. That's fantastic.
Especially with the type of storage it is. You want the faster storage anyway.
Yeah.
Right. But I imagine just the way I see myself using something like this, I would probably be 1 or 2 games that I would be very focused on. That I'm like, okay, I would definitely want to take this on the go. But have we found somebody? You're nodding, Damiani. Does this interest you? Are you dropping cold hard cash?
This is a handheld I can play FTL on now.
Oh my God.
FTL's not a mobile?
It's not on Switch. It's on my iPhone doesn't support it. You need an iPad,
Yeah, iPad. I think that's right.
and that's more
FTL
expensive. That's more
machine.
iPad's more expensive than this.
Does
so-
it have? That is, I just came short in my research of the touchscreen. I remember I was going to look that up. Does it have a touchpad?
It has touchscreen and
you go.
the trackpads below the.
I saw
Yeah.
trackpads. Yeah.
And it is entirely a fully functioning PC, so you can put a keyboard and mouse in there, like whatever you want to do with it. It will support third-party docks. It sounds like there's existing docks out there that it will work with. They are working on a dock. They haven't really shown like a full version of what the pricing will be on their dock yet. But
They
that will be
did
sold
have-
separately.
Shoot, am I gonna buy this thing?
It
Damn
is.
it.
It does look neat. It's. I like how they packed in a lot into that compact space because they did realize like, okay, we're not going to deal with detached controllers. We know 7-inch is going to be, the bar that we want to set, and then let's just try to make this thing,
It
not
does seem
light
kind
your
of big. I'm
light your hands on
curious-
fire or your pants.
Like I haven't seen the weight spec, but like I'm curious, like holding it, like
Yeah.
how heavy is it going to feel over the long term?
That's pretty important.
Because I think even if I knew the weight, I wouldn't be sure about how much of a difference that'll make over time.
From the Steam website, the Steam Deck was built for extended play sessions, whether you're using thumbsticks or trackpads.
1.47 pounds.
Yeah,
How much is
that
a
could be a
Switch?
bit.
Let me check.
Or Switch Lite, especially.
I would
Was
say
it-
regular Switch probably.
Was the intent to always announce this at this moment? Because it feels like perfect timing.
I saw somebody tweet that they were talking about this like 10 or 12 years ago. So that's like,
Well, yeah, and shout out to Ars Technica who just told everybody about it. It was called Steam Pal, and then before that was called Neptune. And they, heard that from a lot of sources, but one, very astute coder just said, like, it's literally in the Steam code. They added this. Something's coming to Steam that's called Neptune or Steam Pal that they're making room for.
Nintendo Switch weighs 0.88 pounds with the Joy-Cons attached.
So that's double the weight.
So it's not quite double, but yeah.
Optimized for Neptune or Steam Pal was one tag that floated around, and so I wonder if we're going to see some games, that Valve wants to get behind, that they're like, hey, this is, optimized for Steam Deck, whatever that means.
Oh yeah, it's Switch is. This is slightly under double. Yeah.
I think the other thing too is the question of battery life, because they're saying 2 to 8 hours.
2
but
to
the
8
hours was like the small indie games.
Yeah.
Doom
Fully
Eternal?
The
3D
guy- yeah, the-
Eternal.
The guy at IGN was like, you can play Portal 2 forever for this thing. It's like, okay.
New Steam achievements. Complete this in 90 minutes for your Steam Deck dies.
Which again, but if you're, like a 14-year-old playing Minecraft, you can just switch, you can play on Switch anyway. But I just imagine, it definitely depends. I think this is going to open up so many doors to franchises and games that people never really considered portable before, that like, hey, I'll take 30 minutes, like I'll do anything on the,
Totally.
the commute to work.
Yeah. But I do think it's something that will less likely have a lot of impact on the Switch. I don't think it'll probably, like, sales-wise make a difference at all. It could have more of an impact on just, like, shifting that, like, gaming laptop market. It's like, I don't really need a laptop so much as I can just play everything on this. So.
So yeah, laptops are lot more expensive. I feel like
They're
too.
a lot more expensive than this
compared.
thing.
Yeah, so I feel like this does kind of occupies a pretty neat spot. It's like a Super Switch, really, but obviously the lack of Nintendo games. But like you were saying, Blood, just not having to go all in on a laptop, just being able to get this.
Just imagine like a
And the fact that it works basically as a laptop too.
right.
Yeah.
But dude, when they put
Bloodborne on there?
Bloodborne on
Exactly.
PC in November,
Yes.
now you have a handheld that plays Bloodborne.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, that might be game of the year in some weird way.
Yeah.
We'll make it work.
Yeah.
It's gonna sell out as soon as that is announced.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing though. With the way that they're selling this, Steam is being very anti-scalper with this, which is very, very cool.
How so?
So you have to buy it through your Steam account, through the Steam store. Use only one per customer. When you reserve it, you're reserving the specific model. So like, when you put your $5 down this weekend,
You put your what down?
$5.
$5.
$5 pre-order.
Old school.
Are you serious?
Old
Holy
school.
crap.
And you put it on. You put
only
it
50?
specifically on which one of those 3 models you want. But here's the other fun thing with the Steam accounts: if you haven't bought anything prior to June 2021 on that Steam account, you can't pre-order this thing until a couple of days after everybody else.
Whoa.
I did not see that. Wow.
So you can't just go and make a bunch of Steam accounts and order a bunch of these until
Yeah.
other people have gotten in line.
That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
But then the other side of it is once they start rolling these things out in December, you're basically on a wait list. So it's not going to be just like thousands of these flooding the market. It's
Right.
going to be a slower rollout. But unlike PS5s and Xboxes and graphics cards, you don't have to do that repeatedly. You put your $5 down now.
I like
You're on the
this.
list. You're in line. When it comes, it comes.
Like it.
I haven't seen a lot of. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say I just did this, and it also tells you when you're like, it opens a thing that says reservations open at this time. Do you want to add that to your calendar? And it automatically added it to my calendar.
Put it on my Google Calendar.
I haven't seen a lot of rage about the $5 thing, but I have seen a lot of people reporting it being like, "Whoa, that's strange." And a lot of their the frequently asked questions was like, "We know that's odd, but this is why we did it." Like specifically, I have a quote here, but I mean, it's just to sum up what you were saying. Like we want to make sure the people that are ordering this really want it. Need one and can use one for their account, and they're done.
Yeah, and the first month it's fully refundable, and even after that, if you decide to cancel later, like it just goes into your Steam wallet. Like you get the money back one way or another.
To ensure an orderly and fair ordering process for customers when Steam Deck inventory becomes available, the additional fee gives us a clearer signal of intent to purchase. which gives us better data to balance supply chain,
Purchase
inventory,
intent.
and regional distribution leading up to launch. Does anyone at Easy Allies have purchase intent right now? Like, we're obviously going to get one. We want to cover it. I'm extremely curious because I will never forget Damiani. Holding the Switch the first time was a magical moment. I hadn't done it until we took it out of packaging. Like I didn't go to like some show or something, and I just remember being like, oh, thank goodness it's not just falling apart in my hands. The Joy-Cons eventually fell apart, but just had a nice sturdy feel to it, and it was like, nice. This thing is neat. And yeah, I'm excited to like, ooh, those back buttons, those track pads. I'm excited to try them out.
I'm curious to try it out, but yeah, just the price, because unfortunately, Switch OLED came first.
Yeah.
Also, I'd rather play PC games on a PC. There are a few games I'd like to take on the go, but there's a lot of cross between Switch and that, and some of those hiring games that might be neat to see. But at the same time, it's like I'd rather be playing Doom on a PC
Like
with
Monster
my
Hunter,
with my
Monster Hunter
good GPU.
Stories 2
Yeah.
on this thing
Very
Oh
good.
yeah.
would probably be a good, like, a
Absolutely.
very specific comparison. But
Yeah.
like, you know,
I
probably
mean,
a lot better on that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
run
Digital
better,
Foundry's gonna have a field
but it's
day with
also
this
still
thing.
not as
Yeah.
good as like your PC.
Of course.
But
of course.
yeah, I mean, yeah, if we get one, I'll try it out. But yeah, I'm probably not getting.
Yeah,
one of
I think
these.
that's the thing too. Like my knee-jerk reaction is like, well, crap, I'm buying this thing, because just, and it's partly because the Xbox and the PlayStation 5 are so big. Like I don't know, I'm nervous about putting those in a backpack and taking them with me to another state on an airplane, and then and also taking them out of the thing and putting it into the scanners and all of that. So it's like, oh, this thing will let me bring PC games with me. That's a plus. But I've cooled a little bit since this morning to where, kind of like Damiani is saying, like, I'll at least see one in person first, play with it for a bit, kind of put it through its paces, and then if I want one, then still maybe I will. Because outside of, going on vacation, I don't have a lot of, times where I think I would really use it. I would probably just keep playing my PC at home.
Hubert, I keep thinking about it like a new car, which I didn't think about for the PS5 or the Series X because it's like I really want those games to perform well. Like this thing's just gonna sit. Both of them are sit behind my television. I never even see them while I'm like actually gaming.
Yeah.
Whereas I was not sold on this right away. I was like, oh, thank goodness, $400. Okay, I don't have to like spend that. Then I saw it. I'm just like, ooh, look at that. And like on the website, curving it, doing the 360 spin. It's like,
Nice.
so it just seems ready to go. They're coming out and when that thing spins, that R1,
That
R2.
thing's clean.
But
That's
who
really
knows? Who
clean.
knows until we see how heavy it is, how hot it is, how
hot
good
it is,
how
a
good
good
that
point.
screen looks, how much you need that premium anti-glare etched glass.
Not a fan of the analog stick and face button layout though, because they have to make room for the pads below. I just realized like I don't like it
They're
all.
really hot. Yeah.
IGN said the same thing,
Your
but
palms
that
all over
when they
that
got
thing.
their hands on it, it was actually a
I mean,
lot better than they expected.
Probably works. I just like same thing with the DualSense. Like I like Sony's controllers. I've enjoyed them, but I always have preferred Nintendo/Xbox's positioning.
There's
Okay.
I let
I want
Troll
the
in this
play
with the play
date.
date. Well, over to you, Isla. Are you waiting for Bloodborne to hit this thing, or what would bring you to the Steam Deck?
That cut to you. Well, you were talking, so never mind. If I don't buy this thing, Ben will. So one
race.
or
Ben
the
will
other.
probably get it either way.
Ben's
but
gonna get it either
Yeah.
way. I put my chips down to reserve tomorrow the middle one, cause I don't know, but maybe I'll cancel it. I think it'll depend on reviews and if I just have the money at the time that it wants me to pay for it. I don't know. Seems fun. I don't love sitting at my computer. Like if I'm not working, I don't want to be in front of that damn thing. So this could be nice.
That's why I play so many console games.
Yeah, I know.
I don't want to be.
This would be
Probably
like a
do.
console,
Yeah.
so it'd be good.
that's true. You could just set it up like the Switch in your living room.
In the
and-
TV, yeah, with the
Yeah.
dock. This could be
It's
great.
really legit.
The one concern that I have though is like, I guess it's not as pronounced as it used to be, but like, it used to be like if your PC was like 2 or 3 years old, you're just like woof, like you can't
True.
play anything.
Mm-hmm.
So like, how frequently are you gonna have to upgrade this thing? And like the problem with this is like, it doesn't seem like there are any swappable parts that
No,
I'm
there's
aware
not.
of. So it's like $500 every if you really want to stay on top of it every
Yeah.
3 years, it's like that's kind of nuts.
But that's where my mindset is. Like, this is progress. Like, I'm playing this to get progress in Final Fantasy XIV, not to, like, enjoy Final Fantasy XIV. Like, I'm going to wait to do that back at home. Like, I'm doing this to check out the DLC for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but the main campaign, no way.
Well, and the entire Steam catalog up to this point, which is infinite games. So it's like all of those games.
Not to mention a short hike or whatever. It's like I can probably just have a ton of little awesome indie darlings on this, or like when Next Fest happens, I'm sure they're gonna have a ton of things that just like download it right away on Steam.
Well, I also think too, if you use this, use less of the PC functionality of it. It is running Steam OS instead of Windows, even though you could blast it and put Windows on there if you want to.
Blast it.
But it might hold up a little bit longer just because of that. If you keep it to a clean Steam OS rather than doing other stuff with it.
Good point.
What is that like when you start to like install another browser in Windows and they're just like, "Why are you doing that, Dave?" And you're like, "Just please, Chrome on this, leave me alone." But it's December if they get lucky, and same thing with Nintendo for the OLED model. Do you think both of these, Damiani, are going to have the same, problems getting this to market and actually getting this in people's hands? Do you think one has a better shot of selling as many as they want? Not in terms of interest. I literally just manufacturing, like getting these things made and getting.
Nintendo's making way more of these.
I was gonna say, I think, probably what you talked about on the last podcast, whatever you said on that one about why they went with a Switch OLED instead of a Switch Pro. It means that they're manufacturing a lot of these, and while today we're recording this morning, the pre-orders for Switch OLED went live. The neon version seemed to be up for decent amount of time, like several minutes at least, on every single site it was available. The white version was the one that was selling out really quickly, so I feel like they'd have a significant amount. I'd be more worried about this because, as you said earlier, you're gonna be on a list and it's not like thousands rolling out at once or whatever. It's just like first come first serve, whereas Nintendo's like, this is the worldwide launch. It's coming out on October 8th everywhere.
It's them saying December is kind of says to me 2022 is going to be the year that you'll get a Steam Deck at some point.
Yeah.
But do you see potentially, because we also said last week, and it's just like it just works with Nintendo because their stuff is, their hardware is so popular that, they are going to probably have shortages. I wonder if by December, people who are still trying to acquire, the old fashioned way, actually like going to a store and seeing it, or like maybe their shortages are then driven to a Steam Deck?
Probably not.
Okay.
Because you still have Switch Lite, and Switch OG.
Right.
They have 3 models of Switch. It's going to be easy to get a Switch until maybe November. I mean, maybe the holiday rush changes things, but up through October, I don't think it'll be that. Nothing like getting a PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, or probably getting this in a timely fashion. I think your best bet is to get a Switch. I think it's the easiest thing to get right now.
Switch this holiday? Money. Money.
Hubert, Gabe Newell and Phil Spencer, both smart gentlemen, right? They know what's up. Phil's not going the handheld route, at least that we know. At least that they've announced at Microsoft seems unlikely.
Oh, they are. They're just not making the hardware.
Right. A very succinct way of saying that they just basically want to bring Game Pass to a bunch of things you already own. Is that the better play? Are they both, who knows, risky? We'll see in a year or two, or
keep
what?
Keep doing what you're doing, Microsoft. You're on a good path right now. You got public opinion up. Sales are good. Everything's good. Yeah.
They've been putting Xbox PC games on Steam.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you basically have access to that stuff.
Right. So they don't need an Xbox Series P.
No.
For portable.
No. I don't think so. I don't think that's necessary.
But Steam, are you excited to see Steam take a shot at this?
Absolutely, yeah. Put Nintendo make them a little nervous, Even I doubt they even know about this. I doubt they even care. But still, it's good. And I like where this fits. I think it fits a very specific corner of the market, So I think this is cool.
Do you think the average consumer will be very cozy with this console, or do you think it's going to be scrutinized a lot for performance and the various models in between each other, or are people just going to be like, woohoo?
And the average person probably isn't going to be scrutinizing that much.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it'll absolutely be compared to, as you said, gaming laptops, Bloodworth, to see, especially low-end gaming laptops. It would be like, if you can get, a $1,000 laptop versus this, which is, the high-end model $650, and it's what's the performance difference? Some people might... the other thing is the form factor. This is only what it is, a game like a handheld gaming device. It has all the PC functionality and maybe it can dock, but when you're on the go, it's just like that's what you have versus like I have a traditional keyboard or
Right.
like a Surface or tablet, whatever you're going to be using. I think that might be something the average person thinks about, like, oh, that looks like a gaming device. I'd rather just go with a laptop. Like when they're being the sales pitch at the store, they're just like, or online when they're comparing, it's like, I think a lot of people are familiar with laptops more, so
Yeah.
they do. I think that might be something that comes into play, but I don't think that's who this is aimed at, though. I think this is definitely aimed at people who already are
Very
PC
specific.
gamers who are just looking for a portable PC gaming experience that's also that is like a gaming console as
Right.
well. And
that's the
higher
thing
end
is,
than
like,
the Switch.
This is such a bullseye for a very specific
Yep,
type of consumer
exactly.
that is just going to buy everyone that's available. And so, like, I think it's going to work out really well for Steam. It's just interesting. It's manufacturing, like, interesting to me that a model for manufacturing is like, well, there's a very small group of percentage of people who will buy it and then we're done. It's like, where, what's the next push going to be? We're like, okay, now we
Well-
want to try. If Nintendo's at the point where they're like, it's time for your second Switch, it's like, what's Steam's, 2, 3, 4, 5 year plan on just
that
getting
is
a huge
something that
audience?
is interesting because with IGN, Gabe was talking about like being very strong about hitting that $400 price point and like,
Yeah.
making it attractive to consumers who may not usually go in for such a niche product, and talking about something that they want to support in like a long-term strategy. So yeah, it really is going to be curious to see how this progresses and if we see it in stores. Because like, did we ever see Steam controllers sold
No,
at
I've
like
never
Best
seen one in a
Buy or
while.
anything
No,
like
yeah.
that? Like, so I think that's part of it is to see whether they get beyond their own marketplace and this gets like a broader adoption.
Who at the table has played Lost Judgment? Or played Judgment, sorry. Lost Judgment is coming out in September. The first
I
Judgment.
finished it,
You finished it.
of course.
Isla, did you play Judgment?
No.
Cool. Did you play Judgment?
I have not.
Nope.
All right. You and I can cover this. I did not play Judgment. Takuya Kimura, was a performance you enjoyed from the first Judgment. And looking at Lost
absolutely.
Judgment, you think will carry on.
Blade of the Immortal, also good movie starring
Oh,
him.
okay.
Check it out.
That's
He's
a
big
sick
actor.
movie. I've seen that. That's good stuff.
Sick movie.
Right. Pretty big star
Yeah.
in Japan. Damian, do you know what he did before? He made it big in movies. It was one of his first claims to fame.
I'm not sure. I just know he's huge.
He is huge.
Big draw.
He used to be in a boy band.
Oh, okay.
It's called SMAP. S-M-A-P.
Got it.
They lasted for 3 years. They broke up because one of them left Johnny's, which is the talent agency that he works for. The second member of the band left Johnny's as well. He's the last person at Johnny's. I specifically bring up Johnny's in relation to Judgment because potentially Johnny's could be shutting down this gaming franchise.
What?
There might not
Johnny.
be a Judgment 3 because of Johnny's.
Johnny.
And we have to talk about that
What the
on the Easy Allies
heck?
podcast because it's fascinating. It brings into question all sorts of things concerning of like how much do you pay actors? What do we do with celebrities in this digital medium? The era of deep fakes and all of that. But just the backstory is too good. I'll get through it as quick as I can. Johnny's is traditionally very scared of not only PCs but just the world. They don't let a lot of their talent.
The world.
They don't let a lot of their talent do social media anything.
Oh.
And Kimura is actually great because he's like, oh, well, like, here's my wife, here's my kids, I don't care. And they're like, okay. And they just kind of play along. And when, and again, they don't lock on this down 100%, but like at conventions, they'll be very private about photographs that are taken. They won't let those be published if they're like at a con and a panel or something. And so it hasn't been officially said. And again, Sega's very tight-lipped on this. They're like Judgment's just not coming to PC. So people basically have to speculate, but the writing is kind of on the wall that they're like, we don't want people on PC in a modding community to be able to do something to his likeness, take his likeness, use it for other purposes. So it basically raises in a question, and Sega's considering the PC platform extremely important for the future of Judgment. So like, well, we're not going to continue with this franchise if we can't sell the next one or the third one on PC. So how is it in this era that a talent agency is shutting down an offshoot of a very successful Japanese gaming franchise, Michael Damiani? How'd we get here?
I mean,
Seriously.
I think it's because he just pulls in so much of the sales. I forget where we talked about this recently, but someone pulled the sales data from Judgment and from different regions of the world. And in Southeast Asia, he's responsible for like the polls, like 40% of the sales come from that region. And he's been cited as one of the biggest reasons why it sells over in those markets. So if over a third to 40% of sales are coming from one area and they're citing him as the reason, you lose that 40% sales. That's a huge hit, not to mention the rest of the world who's buying it because of him. I think they just see that they have the bargaining power, and they're just sticking to what they've been doing. Not saying I like what they're doing, but it's just what they're doing to protect their brand and IP. And so I guess the ball is now in Sega's court. It's like they could cancel the series. They could try and go with a different actor, but potentially lose those sales. It's kind of a mess. And it's like all because they don't want people to mod PC versions of games. It's like, I'm surprised. I mean, I'm not surprised it's them. I thought it would have been like Atlas or something, but Atlas has been like, hey, PC game's cool. Let's go. But, dude, this is strange to me.
Especially because he's not the first like famous person to be in a video game. This has happened.
Well, in particular, all of the Yakuza series is full of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Constant cameos.
Yeah, it like beat Takeshi in 6. Yeah, it's so weird. All those wrestlers. Yeah, it's you'd think the contracts would be written up to deal with all this, right? Like, wouldn't this have already been in the contract, written by the time Lost Judgment is supposed to come out?
I mean, I wonder if this, because again, this is all just speculation right now. There's just no PC port, so it's like I wonder if like this dispute has been happening for a while, because like when they first,
they've been trying to
they tried it on Judgment, didn't happen, and so they're trying it again, with this, and it's just they're finally hitting a barrier that's that news is making the rounds and people are starting to talk about it.
They're console fanboys. That's all it is.
But at the same Kimura is a gamer. He loves playing video games, and he loved the character. He thought it was just really fascinating. It's one of his favorite roles, and so I wonder if he, I think it does take a big property, a big star, to kind of break a company, in terms of like the beliefs that they might be holding and maybe affecting their total sales. I just don't know if this is a moment or if this is that important of a franchise, but they were just, Yakuza in general and just this whole world is just kicking so much ass. So it's like, oh, what a dumb thing to get stuck on.
Especially because Steam is such a big part of that, just PC sales for that franchise.
Can I put this? Isla, I want you to weigh in on this well because it's very dystopian. Like, can I log this into the timeline of performers basically losing the whole sense of identity? Just this idea of like, it's not really his performance that's a question here. It's literally just the render he gave to Sega. So it's like, who do they take to court? It's interesting. Any thoughts there?
Who owns a person's face?
Exactly.
Who owns a face? Also, brief update on the previous story. I asked my friend because he like just purchased like a Chinese computer version of the Steam Deck like 2 weeks ago, and I asked him how much it was. It was $1,200, which is on par for a gaming laptop. And he speculates that Valve is going to be selling the Steam Deck at a loss because they can afford to. Because like you're going to buy everything on Steam through it.
Right.
So
that's what Microsoft said about the Series X, right?
Right. They might be a better spec than the price might suggest.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but yes, no one owns their own face anymore. Facebook owns your face.
It's sad that this is like hanging over this now going into 2, I guess. It's just like, just enjoy this game even more now because it could potentially be the last time we see
and what's
this
annoying
character.
about that is the fact that at this stage, it's not written to be the end.
Mm-hmm.
So it could end in some awkward way.
Oh, totally. No, man.
Cliffhanger.
Full Darkman mode, man.
Oh, no.
He's all bandaged.
Yep, recast.
And like,
Liam Neeson.
Okay, we can't get the full face and body. How much for the top of his left cheek? Okay, just to show maybe an eyeball. And that's all you see. Two-Face style.
It's so crazy because they just made a big deal about the change of direction in Yakuza and Judgment series, and like this whole thing about simultaneous world releases. It's a big deal for us, and now, bam! It's like about that Judgment series. It's like, what are you gonna do now?
Even like more kind of important to the franchise at this moment too, because 7 and the future, the mainline is turn-based.
Right.
So this is going back to that classic, beat 'em up style that the franchise has done for so long. So it's like, I think it just makes this release even more important for the franchise.
So it's just his likeness, not his voice. Like I know you were joking, but like they could make him get in a car accident and just look completely different in Judgment 3.
If all of the speculation is to be believed. Again, all Sega has officially said is this game is not coming to PC, and everybody's like, well, we know why, but we don't really know why. It's just very interesting they're stonewalling specifically on this console.
Was it 0 when they replaced the actor that got into like the drug problems?
Oh, right.
Oh.
So this franchise is already like...
I don't remember which one it was.
Yeah, they fully replaced...
Oh, dude, Game of Thrones went through
yeah.
like 10 different actors for some characters. Like, dude's completely changed heights, haircuts, and outfits and stuff. Yeah, it's remarkable. Back to the Future, man, we changed Jennifer's. It's like it's pretty impressive that they managed
O'Neil, dude.
8 games.
Turtles 1
I know. So it's coming to games, but it's just it's interesting that a war, and I would feel totally different about the story if it was him that was really coming out and being like, hey, you know what? I'm not comfortable with PC games, or hey, I've seen this happen adversely to people I know or people in different countries, but it's really just this weird company, and so I wonder if they'll break them. Also, shout out to Nikon Taishu, which is a segment of the Japan Times, which initially reported this, and again, 100% all speculation. And shout out to Greg Cadman on Patreon, one of our patrons at our 5 and up level, who asked about it, wanted us to talk about it, and I was already talking about it.
Please don't replace him. Let it keep going.
Netflix is going to make some video games. Netflix video games. All right, I'm going to spend no more than 5 minutes on this. I want to get a bigger reaction out of Damiani.
I have a good wish for this.
For Netflix video games.
So Infinite Darkness just came out, and it's swimming at best. It's just fine. I really like the Mad Dogs. No spoilers. But I imagine, if they could get that visual style with maybe a light gun style game, or even Bandersnatch, choose your own adventure style. So it's these really, really high production values, good looking, crazy animation. But you just have a little input. You have a little interactivity. Leon goes down a corridor, and you're like, do I take the herb or do I take the shotgun shells?
Can zombies grab you on the stairs or not?
Yeah. So it's a choose your own adventure style, but maybe add in some light gun.
So
elements.
the plumber game at Limited Run.
Oh, Plumbers Don't Wear Ties?
Which is getting a release, of course.
And I guess there was an Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt episode that kicked a lot of this stuff off, where they had some interactive thing that don't watch the show missed that, but shout out.
I get what you mean, Huber, but I just want to say Infinite Darkness looked worse than Village, and
totally.
looked worse than Village in
Totally.
game.
Looks worse in a lot of ways, but
I was just render it in RE Engine for crying out loud. What is this?
That show bangs its head against the Uncanny Valley on several occasions.
It's welcome back to the 2000s.
I know.
What happened here?
I know. But still, if I could interact with it in some way, I think it'd be pretty cool.
Sure.
Yeah, if they're gonna do that, then so be it. Explore all that, because as you said, Bandersnatch, it's interesting experiment, and they could probably build upon that. But in terms of gaming, I don't know. We already have Google Stadia, we already have Amazon, and we have Luna and their streaming services, and I don't see Netflix doing.
Oh yeah, but I got to tell you about a new name. Where we showed up on that Google Stadia day, and we were just like, "What are they going to call this dumb thing?" Netflix. You have Netflix. It's already there. If you're like, what am I going to do with my evening? And all of a sudden, a video game scrolls by in front of you on Netflix.
No,
the gaming. You just add another tab.
And you're like,
shows,
whoa,
movies, games,
browser-based games. Not a weird thing.
And you think that's going to be part of your normal subscription? No, not a chance.
Well,
you're going to have to pay separately.
Actually, that could be funny though. If really we're getting, because this Mike Verdu, right?
Yeah.
He was in charge. He was doing stuff with Oculus VR, and then he was at EA. He was overseeing the mobile game studios with SimCity and PvZ2.
And has now been hired.
But to me, it almost makes it sound like it kind of what Damiani was pointing my head to. It's just like the games on the back of the seat in an airplane.
Totally.
Ooh, that's a great.
That's why I just want choose
It
your own
could be
adventure
almost
stuff.
nothing, It's
Solitaire.
Yeah, dude.
You just go to Netflix and
Are you dissing Hearts, Bloodworth?
The idea of Bandersnatch was so good. Bandersnatch was okay in the end. It was whatever. But the idea and the hope,
right,
for me is there. Especially if you had like I'm speaking for Resident Evil here, or even Ubisoft with Assassin's Creed. If you had a game company actually make it, you know, versus
I think
Black
that,
Mirror people.
I think that for grown-ups, FMV games have a lot of potential, but I think Blood might have inadvertently been on the money because I imagine they would start rolling this out for kids, and like
They have already. Aren't there
pretty-
so many of these?
there's a
islands?
lot of really and when we
Yeah.
pitched them years ago, they were all about interactivity
Yeah.
for seedlings and stuff, and it was just like they've been doing it for kids for a long time, so I think that they would start there, kinda.
Well, and they did have Minecraft Story Mode
Right.
make a version for Netflix too. Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Could get excited for this
Here we go.
If they
that
put-
didn't take long.
if they
Yeah.
put FTL on Netflix.
Ah.
Yeah.
What are you playing it with though?
Yeah.
What are you playing a Netflix video
So
game
if I can
on?
play on my phone.
I mean, yeah. If it's on,
On my phone.
if you access it with your
You could do
PlayStation or
touch screen.
Xbox or PC, you could use any one of those devices.
Mm.
Bandersnatch used the PlayStation controller, if I remember correctly, when I
Did
did
it
it.
really?
That just used your remote too, if you're
Yeah.
watching. On
Yeah, I
the
think that's
TV.
the thing. It has to be
Yeah.
like very,
It was a while ago. Bandersnatch.
very
I forget.
latency tolerant type games.
And you liked the Stranger Things game. You both played that. We're
Stranger Things 3,
surprised.
the video game.
But that's not what this is.
produced by no, but it was
We don't
produced by
know what
Netflix.
this is.
Netflix.
Let's put that. Let's
okay.
make
Netflix-
this clear.
Sorry.
Netflix put up money. You know,
Love
All that they have
game.
confirmed is
Yeah.
that Mike
Love that
Purdue will lead a new game development department.
So if
That's
they're
all we know.
and
they're
they want to
making-
add games quote in the next year.
Because
They have a timeline possibly
making
into
their own
2022.
games, like based on their properties, like that has maybe a little bit more potential.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that, as you said, like the Stranger Things game
A
was
spin-off.
fun.
You could
Yeah.
do some spin-off
Okay, here you go.
FMV
Fear
type
Street
thing.
game, Huber.
Yes,
I got him. I got him. There we
perfect,
go.
dude. So perfect.
Shinji Mikami coming in.
It's one of those things where I have high hopes for it, but also no expectations, and I won't even think about this until there's something cool. You know what I mean? So really, there's no problem with it. You start getting into like prices, and if that affects subscribers that want nothing to do with this, hopefully it's just an add-on like 4K is and stuff. But I don't know, optimistic. Weirdly.
The one thing I am seeing people talk about, and I'm sure this has very little to do with it, but it's still funny to consider, is that a lot of people compare Netflix not to like Disney Plus or like Hulu or anything, but to like Fortnite. They're like, that's really who's beating you. Like that's really Roblox is really like your
Right.
biggest enemy.
Yeah.
And so like I don't know if like the Netflix execs at like some meetings would be like, oh, games, that's cute. We do that too. Like I don't know if that's. You think that's a power play, Damiani? You think they're going to be like, we're in the game space, TV shows, movies, we do it all. Are we going to be awarding a Netflix game just like how the Oscars freaked out about Netflix winning Academy Awards? Is Jeff Keighley going to freak out
I think they're
when
just.
Netflix moves in?
I think this is part of their plan to diversify because they got to keep expanding, and with more and more traditional video streaming services popping up, everyone's
Right.
moving their own thing, and everyone's taking their catalog back to their own platforms.
Back to formula.
They've had
to formula.
formula. You're out. No. They're originals. They've been relying on those so heavily, but I mean, I think they can only make so many as much as they make at a time. So it's like, what else do we add? Maybe games.
Yeah.
Streaming games. It's coming. More people are doing this. Maybe we start exploring that.
Damiani, a Fear Street Choose Your Own Adventure is actually
R.L.
perfect.
Stein.
It's actually perfect.
I mean,
Oh.
it makes you wonder if like they
All
talked
of them.
about it, but it just wasn't the right time, and maybe in the future because they're experimenting with a lot of various weird formats, and some of them really stick.
All the Are You Afraid of the Darks come.
Dude, yes.
But like also Dota, Castlevania, Magic the Gathering, Sonic, League of Legends, Witcher, something happened. Something, and in a weird dorky way, I'm like proud of video games, like a friend, that like,
Yeah.
Isla, you have lots of friends in entertainment, it's just like somebody books a big job and you're like, yeah, go video games. This media company that could have done all sorts of various things in different directions just got bit by gaming.
Totally.
And they are fired up. And now, a word from our sponsors. Michael Huber's here, and I'm here to talk about ExpressVPN.
Oh,
and you've been
yeah.
saved on several occasions.
Heck yeah.
Watching Netflix without using ExpressVPN is like paying for gym membership but only being able to use the treadmill. ExpressVPN lets you change your online location so you can control where you want Netflix to think you're located. They have almost 100 different server locations so you can gain access to thousands of new shows. This works with many other streaming services too, BBC iPlayer, YouTube, and more. Blazing fast speeds, stream in HD with zero buffering, compatible with all your devices, phones, laptops, media consoles, smart TVs, and more. It also encrypts your data, which we've talked about before. ExpressVPN has the added benefit of encrypting your data so you can browse the web securely. So be smart. Stop paying full price for streaming services and only getting access to a fraction of their content. Get your money's worth at expressvpn.com/allies. Don't forget to use our link, expressvpn.com/allies, to get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. Boom. You know, I'll be sitting there on my toilet, and it's very warm in California right now. Southern California, we're feeling the heat. And I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking about, at the end of the whole process, as you do, you're looking at the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm like, oh, hey, I got a bidet attached to my toilet. I'm gonna get a nice little frosty, icy, surprise at the end of this. And this is gonna be fantastic on a hot day like this. And then I think to myself, because I immediately go straight from pleasure to business, and I think, I bet I'm gonna get ad copy coming to me from Hello Tushy about the summer and about what a joyous experience this is. Summer's here, and the living ain't easy if you've got swamp ass. How will you stay on top of your sweaty bottom? Try a refreshing spray from a Hello Tushy bidet. I did so today. Keep your sweaty crack clean all summer long with the brand new Hello Tushy 3.0 modern bidet attachment. It's a stylish, eco-friendly, refreshing little shower for your ass. Hello Tushy 3.0 cleans soggy butts like a champ, but it doesn't stop there. It cleans itself with the Smart Spray trademark automatic self-cleaning nozzle. No one wants to work up sweat in 100-degree heat. That's why the Hello Tushy bidet attaches to your existing toilet with no electricity or extra plumbing needed. Also, Hello Tushy cuts toilet paper use by 80%, so it'll pay for itself in a few months. Plus, Hello Tushy's got your ass covered with a 60-day risk-free guarantee and a 12-month warranty. Already got a Hello Tushy on the pot? Treat your ass with the new 3.0 model. If you're new to the revolution, join millions of happy Hello Tushy customers right now and have a clean butt with every flush. Defeat swamp ass. Go to hellotushy.com/easyallies to get 10% off plus free shipping. This is a special offer for our listeners at hellotushy.com/easyallies, all one word, for 10% off. hellotushy.com/easyallies. Life is full of stressors. Doesn't matter who you are or what you have, your life is probably stressful. You may not be feeling down, out, and depressed, but like you're at a total loss. But if your stress is high, your temper is shorter than usual, or even if you start to feel strain in any of your relationships, you could probably use the chance to unload. I try to be as calm as possible doing these reads, but even just reading the word stress is like, my body's like, stress? I'm like, no, I'm just doing an ad read, thank you. Unless the stress, unload the stress, get it out. Talk to someone who's completely unbiased about your life, someone who isn't going to judge you or take sides on anything. When there are things you can't tell anyone or feel like you can't unload to a family and friends, you need to unload it, and that's what therapy can be. One interesting thing I learned about therapy is that something would come up with Amanda, and it would be like, oh, well, we should talk with Amanda. And the therapist is like, I don't do that because I don't want to then talk to her and get into a back and forth. Or I'm your therapist. I'm focused on you. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist. I've done all of that stuff with my personal therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy. You can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Unlock the stressors and get some unbiased feedback. You'd be pretty surprised at what you might gain from it. See if it's for you. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and Easy Allies listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/allies. That's BETTERHELP.com/allies. And if you are a patron of Easy Allies, thank you. And now, not to startle you, it's been a while since Bloodworth has brought... before we get into the game that you're bringing to this podcast, Blood, that you want us to hear about, what happens... How does a game float to the surface like this? What happens... What does a game have to do to jump out in front of your eyeballs for you to be like, gosh darn it, I want the listeners of the Easy Allies podcast to know about that game?
Well, kind of like you're saying, is realizing oh, it's been a while since I've done something like this. And so then I think about it. And then the other thing is just... I don't know. Sometimes you see a game that's visually interesting and you're like, hey, yeah, I would like to check that out. So, send it over to me or whatever. But
check it out.
So have you heard about Ynglet?
Ynglet.
Ynglet is how you spell that. And I played through this yesterday. It's under 2 hours. It's $5. So there's that too, which I didn't.
Alright.
I was like the last thing after I got done with my hand. I was like, oh yeah, how much does this cost? And like go to Steam, like, oh, it's only $5. Cool. It's from Swedish developer Niflas Nygren. Affordable Space Adventures, which I think was on the Switch or the Wii U. Anyways,
I've heard
that
of
does
that.
sound
I've heard of that
familiar,
game.
yeah.
I remember that game.
Yeah.
And also was support from Triple Topping, who did Welcome to Elk. And
Oh, right.
so the thing that kind of stuck out to me is my impression of this game when I saw a trailer is it felt like a combination of like Flow and Pixel Junk Eden. And
Got
so you're looking at like this creature that looks like a little thing from Flow, or you could also say it looks kind of like a fishing lure with like a big long stream coming out the back of it. But then it's a platformer, but you essentially like swim through the platforms.
Nice.
So you have like these boxes that you swim through, and then if you're outside of a box, then gravity takes hold. And they have a really interesting checkpoint system, so that basically you can checkpoint anytime that you're inside of a box just by like letting go of the controls, and then they'll like trace a line around it. And the whole game kind of looks like you're playing on like a dry erase board. It's like you've got just like kind of a blank background, and everything looks like it's kind of made out of different colored markers and things. But as you swim through and you go to all these different spots, like everything is kind of reactive. The music reacts to where you're going. You'll like hit areas and all this color will bloom up from behind you.
Because that's like Flow. Like literally the last two sentences. That's like seems directly.
Not so much
part of
though,
that inspiration.
because like Flow, you really don't have that platforming sense. You don't have that sense of like
right,
jumping
yeah.
from thing
Sure.
to thing, and then after a couple of levels, you get this dash. And what's interesting is the dash has like kind of a cursor, like a pointer, kind of like a compass thing, but it's like it's not just for like you as a player as a UI element. It's actually an interactive part of the world. So there are later on parts where like the length of that like dash meter thing, the dash laser, I guess you would call it, you know, that impacts like how you can get around and bounce off of things. There's parts where you like you get into levels and you pick up a certain item and it will make all of these other platforms, I guess, bubbles, I guess, whatever you want to call them, appear that you couldn't see. So you kind of work your way backwards through the level on a completely different route. And it just introduces a lot of cool little mechanics, just very naturally and all just communicated visually.
Seems like a game with no HUD. I assume there's no like inventory
Basically,
or
there
something.
is like when you go into a level, it'll tell you like there's a certain number of collectibles that you can get.
Oh.
And then the other thing, which I don't want to spoil too much, other than to like get a hint at pay attention to it, because I only saw 5% of people have the last achievement,
Oh.
and it's pretty funny. It's worth.
I was gonna say
checking
2
out
hours.
one-
I don't know how many spoilers you can fit
Yeah.
into 2 hours for a game like this. But so when you finished it, did you think that was a good length for what that was, or?
They have like 4 bonus levels that are a little bit more skill based, like really like, okay, you've learned all this stuff. Now here are some things to like really like test your skills with it. Yeah, I think it's fine. It apparently was at a game jam a couple of years ago, and they just kind of decided to finish it off. It was shadow dropped at the Guerrilla Collective, which is when I had found out about it. So it's just been sort of sitting on my back burner since.
Did we count
since that.
it for pets?
No, because Guerrilla Collective was not part of E3. It was before E3.
Yeah, take that, Gorilla Collective.
I don't even know if we had finished our betting special at that point. We
Oh,
might have
right,
recorded
okay,
it.
okay.
Do you think it? And what did you play it on Steam, or
Yeah, I just played it on Steam.
do you see it kind of making a splash? Do you think it's something? Do you
I
want to
don't think it'll
highlight
make
it
a huge
because?
splash? I don't think it's meant to make a huge splash, but it's definitely a fun little game. It's worth the 2 hours that you put into it.
It's worth a look.
If you like platformers, if you like, it's
Give it a
stuff
look.
that gives you, a little bit of experimenting with mechanics.
Do you like platformers, Damiani?
I do like platformers.
Well, next time you're on the Easy Odds
Yeah.
podcast, I'm going to ask you if you've played Ynglet. You hit that G. It's not Ynglet. Ynglet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the levels are like it seems like they're all named after places in Copenhagen. So that's kind of interesting too.
It's like one of those movies. You'll put it that like always happens where they're like, it's a map, and they like put it on a dry erase thing, and then they put it down on top.
Love when they find
Like the
maps.
serial killers, the circle. He's at that church.
Fear Street maps.
If you can fit in one more Fear Street reference before the podcast is
One
over, you get a cookie.
I'm gonna watch it tonight, Hubie.
Yes.
I am tempted. There's 3 movies so far.
Third one is tonight. That's why we're really hyped. It's tonight, the final.
But there's 1990 something, 1980 something, and 1970 something.
1994, 1978, and 1666.
Oh, 1666.
Tonight.
Uh-oh.
Tonight.
Uh-oh. I'm particularly fond of that century. All right. Shucks. So 6 hours and I'm done? The whole?
Yeah, a little
Okay.
under, little under.
All right.
I'm starting the first one tonight. I
Yes.
should clarify. Yeah.
Got to go backwards. A little confusing. This week, a copy of Super Mario 64 for the Nintendo 64 sold for $1.56 million.
Yeah, is this legit?
Auctioned.
Is this legit? I don't. What's
define
happening?
That's part
define
of the
legit.
question.
Define
is
legit.
this a real, authentic copy of this video game?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What else would it? You thought it was like a
I don't know
bootleg?
if it's like how did it go for so much?
Right.
Oh,
people
yeah.
people are buying
Yeah.
and eating bananas at museums now. So like I don't know. They could have opened this up and there was a banana inside. This was an actual. Well, I'll give you the highest reference of its authenticity that I possibly can, and maybe we possibly can on the planet Earth. WADA, or I think it's probably WADA, is a company that rates this kind of stuff. This was rated 9.8 out of 10, A++.
Just missed that S rank.
You
there.
go to
Man.
the WADA website. It says professional video game grading finally grows up. So they're not messing around
No.
over at
Oh
WADA.
my god.
You go to Heritage Auctions, which is the auction this was sold at, the world's largest collectibles auctioneer. So they're not messing around either.
Yeah.
As we've learned about stock markets of video game retailers, as we have learned about Pokemon cards and baseball cards. I don't know if you've been following either of those
Right,
markets.
right.
Which
Those just-
which auctioneer place? Sorry.
Heritage Auctions.
Heritage. Okay.
People are buying things for way more than they probably should have. Maybe because they suddenly realize how much the items in their house are worth because they're spending a lot more time at home. Maybe because we all kind of went mad the last year. Like, I don't know what is leading to all of this.
Yeah.
Maybe you look like you might have opinions. What do you think about, before we get into the specifics of this
I will
cartridge,
say I love that it's Super Mario 64. That's a good one.
Because, yeah, I mean, there have been others. I mean, they're all Nintendo games, but you throw like Super Mario Brothers and Legend of Zelda, the
Well,
original
that's the
NES.
thing. Zelda was just a week before. It was like 880,000. Yeah.
870.
Because this was the
On
first
July
million,
9th.
right? Million plus, and it was 1.5 million.
Well, the highest before that was 870.
Yeah.
The highest before that was 660 Super
So
Mario
cool.
Brothers in April of this year. So again, it's just we're breaking records right and left, and this is
I love that
almost
the first
double.
$1 million game is Mario 64. I love it. It's fun.
Do you love that a Mario 64 game was sold for 1.5 mil?
It's absurd.
Does it just amuse you? You're like, haha, somebody had to spend all that money, or is it like something's wrong?
I mean, you can do whatever you want with your
Yeah.
money, pretty
If
much.
you
with this.
made that
Like,
money,
for this type
whatever.
of stuff. Like, I
Must be nice.
It's not for me to like judge on that part of it.
You're on these guys'
I
podcast.
would
It's
just-
definitely for you to judge.
I would
right now.
really like to know all the details because this story broke while I was at my roommate's birthday party at Disneyland on Sunday, and we were all trying to like read stuff, and we had terrible internet, and we kept seeing tweets from a bunch of different reputable people who were kind of throwing shade at this, saying this was a little bit suspect, the situation, but I don't know if all the facts have been like collected, and now there's a more clear picture. But I'd like to know the circumstances behind it because there were some accusations that this was like inflated beyond what it should have been.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the questions too is that despite the the quality rating of this, like they're saying like like the packaging and everything is just perfect, it's like exactly as it would have been. I think that there's still a question of like we don't really know how many of them are out there. So there could be still cases of Mario 64 that are in this same quality. My friend Chris Kohler, he's been getting like interviewed by like
Yeah.
NPR and
Yeah.
Washington Post and everybody, and and he's trying to explain it because it's a shift in the collector's market. It's a different type of collector is now entering the video game space. So it used to be the people that were collecting were going after the very rare, practically unknown things like the NES tournament carts and things like we knew exactly how many of these were made. we don't know how many unsealed copies of Mario 64 are left out there.
Right.
And so how much is it worth? Apparently it's worth whatever these people will pay for it. And they're going more after like a comic book style thing towards like this was an important, game in history rather than, there's just not a lot of these and it's, or this is a prototype and they've only made one of them.
It belongs in a museum.
See, yeah. Like I could see Mario 64 because it was such a common game and there wasn't anything special about like the packaging behind it. So like I think most people weren't like thinking about preserving it as much as say like let's say it's an Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, either their collector's editions, the gold cartridge ones, or the holographic cartridge, because 20-ish years ago there were plenty of those on eBay, and people back then were going through like the factory seal process, like which is legit, which was repackaged. People knew about that stuff at least 20 years ago, and you could flag something as like people would be like, this is not legit. This is legit.
Just smell the glue.
And this type of stuff was just starting out, like the rating stuff. I think a lot of people were like, what, like didn't want to deal with that, but it's now prevalent. So
it's now finally grown up.
Yeah, I have to believe like it's just because it's something that was so common, no one kept in that condition. Because I have to imagine there's how many were they even claiming how many Super Mario 64s at all?
I don't know.
Yes, they were.
Oh yeah,
5 or 6, right?
Just one of fewer than 5 known copies in this condition.
So
it had a $100,000 asking price. Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Is Heritage Auctions just like, oh yeah, it's totally 1.5. This is one of the most rare cartridges in the world. And they were like, where are you getting the information from? And they're like, WADA. And it's like, all right. So they go and ask WADA, and they're like, what? And they're like, we have a rating system, and it's just that high. Go ask Heritage Auctions. And it's like, what's happening right now? Like what? So it's all same thing with the stocks. It's just all this perceived. Because I saw people that were like, I bought, something of pretty darn good condition, N64 original of Super Mario, that makes me happy as a collector for like $3,000.
Yeah.
They're like, what in the world?
Yeah.
Like what are you defining it on? Like as a collector, like you were saying with Blood, it's a whole different people getting into this market. Are you really opening this thing up, even if you're even taking it out of the plastic seal?
Well, the
and
one
appreciating
thing
it
that's
at
been
all?
weird to me is that Heritage Auctions has been very bullish in terms of trying to drum up stories about this stuff and trying, like I've been getting emails about every one of these things. Anytime they've got a high value one that, trying to get stories made about it. So it's strange because this is an anonymous buyer. So that immediately puts into question is like, well, is Heritage Auctions just doing it themselves, or they got a friend that's bumping up this price so that when they do the next one it will also get a high price. It's it's one of those things that I don't really know a lot about that world. I've kind of been learning about it secondhand just over the past week or so. But
so what you're saying is in a certain place where I have like sealed copies of every single Zelda game, I can just go sell them now and like on an auction and go buy a house.
$1.5 million.
maybe.
Damiani, dude.
$870,000.
I really hope you have a 9.8
yeah.
Ocarina of Time. Yeah.
No, it's only a 7.8. Just for you, man. It can only be a 7.8.
It was the Zelda was 9.0.
Too much water on it.
Yeah.
Too much water.
And they said it was an early production run. And so it's interesting like how many different factors there are. Because I loved
That's a big part of it too.
it wasn't
Dude,
a player's choice one.
in Pop Fiction, whenever you would get into like serial numbers, I remember the one for the music in the Fire Temple in Zelda. Like you talked about like this model. You had to check the code and it came up.
Red blood versus green blood.
I love that stuff. It's so fun to get specific, but hard to get so specific that we know specifically why, how much it was. Heritage will claim 20% of the total purchase price from the sale of the game. The hammer price was 1.3. The buyer's premium on this lot was 20%, bringing the actual price of the buyer paid to 1.56.
What's a buyer's premium?
Does no
one know?
It's probably
and
just some
access.
BS
It's like you have to agree to
fee.
this. You have to agree to this to even enter the room and start to bid on
Exactly.
this.
It's just a straight up tax. They
Because we
tax
can't.
you.
It's the same thing that's happening with Steam Deck. They want what is it? Intent.
So the buyer
What is
has
it?
to
Purchase
pay
intent,
this.
yeah.
Purchase
Yeah.
intent.
Yeah.
Who?
So probably this place, Heritage.
Gotta remember to mention purchase intent when I talk about Patreon later, okay? We're gonna work it in there somewhere. Also, Kotaku reported that someone spent $600 on a sealed Xbox 360 copy of the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim.
Long-term investment.
Oh, man,
The
we're
same
coming
day.
into the meme world
God.
now.
Nice. But as Chris said, it
Get
could have
GTA 5
just been
copies
as
now.
simple as like somebody with a lot of money
Yeah.
really likes Mario 64.
Just imagine like, oh, Skyrim is good. Don't touch that. Don't touch that.
Yeah, we need Skyrim. Let's get the earliest Skyrim copies. Got to buy a sealed one now.
I do have a sealed copy of what was it? Too Human.
I just pictured, George Clooney and Brad Pitt. They finally break into the vault.
After
open it
the
up.
judge
Matt
had
Damon,
ordered them
it's
to be
Skyrim.
destroyed.
What?
Yeah.
I bought one.
Apparently, a buyer's premium basically is just the auction house
Yeah.
service fee.
Yep.
Okay.
Taking your money.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's just a tax.
effectively.
The house always wins.
Yep.
Also this week, Nintendo and Edible Arrangements have teamed up. Finally. Rainbow Road. Some edible arrangements based on Rainbow Road. Perhaps the Flower Cup bundle. Some Mario Kart edible arrangements.
I was okay with the Cold Stone crossover one.
What about Tag Heuer? Tag Heuer makes?
Watches.
Is
Oh,
it,
yeah.
Is it Tag Heuer or Tag Hauer?
Tag Heuer?
I don't know.
can't afford 'em.
H-E-U-E-R. I think
Yeah.
it might be Heuer, but
How much is this thing?
they're making a Super Mario watch that costs $2,150.
nice animations on it.
Looks pretty slick.
But yeah, $2,000.
How do
Cyberpunk
you
2077
survive?
was the most downloaded game on the PlayStation 4 in June.
That's amazing.
Maybe not the month they were planning on, but they got there. Ratchet was the top-selling game on PS5 for
Nice.
reference. The Smurfs Mission Vileaf, Mission Vileaf, finally teased October 26th. PS5, Xbox Series X. Yes,
Could be a good 6.
Next gen Smurfs.
could be. Yeah, could be a good. That's the ceiling.
No, I don't know. It could be a little better.
Six.
Than
Yeah.
that, but,
Tog Heuer.
Tog Heuer.
Tagahoya.
Oh man, I'm gonna get so many.
Oh, God.
Seemed like a funny Mario joke. It seemed like a funny Mario joke. No.
Tagahoya.
Maneater Truth Quest announced
Yes.
DLC. The aliens shooting alien beams out of his mouth.
So pumped.
They know what they're doing. August 31st, Bravely Default Brilliant Lights. Only on mobile and only in Japan. No date yet,
Oh.
but new Bravely Default.
right.
Company of Heroes 3. Are you Company of Heroes?
So I played it when it was. I played the original back in the day, but like I haven't played in a decade plus. So
First in the series since 2013.
Yeah.
And just announced the pre-alpha is right now. So like a lot of
So
people jumped in and were able to check
I
that out.
never
So
played the
cool.
games, but I think I did like a backtrack on Chris Velasco's score on Company of Heroes 2 or something like that. Yeah.
And yeah, really good attention to detail in that franchise, and just speeding through the bullet list of improvements. A lot of quality of life stuff. Just a lot of stuff. I was like, I bet longtime fans are stoked. The Witcher 3 is getting free DLC inspired by the Netflix show, which will manifest itself as
hopefully a quest. Give me one quest. That's all I want.
you shot that down the last time we hung out, Bloodworth.
Yep.
You think it's just going to be like a shirt, right?
Oh,
What if it's Breath of the Wild style and it's a T-shirt of
could be like a horse.
Henry
and
Cavill.
like a armor.
yeah?
Yeah. And a horse armor.
All right.
I think there will be a Henry Cavill skin.
I doubt that.
Yeah,
I
no,
doubt
I
they'll
would
go
doubt
that
that.
far.
His agency will prevent it from coming out on PC.
Do you think he'll come through a portal and you'll talk to him?
That would be funny. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
I think it was just a new trailer, but Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, which is their Super Smash Brothers basically that's coming up, was just hyping all over the place this week. I saw a lot of people talking about it in a
People
lot
are
of different
into it.
directions.
Yeah,
Like
sure.
let's
people making
go.
fun memes of it. Aang is like,
That is
Korra's
full.
clearly on the thing. They showed everybody in shadow, and she's got the locks and everything. It's like, that's clearly Korra.
That is a full lock for a group stream.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see, potentially how that does, because it's just like, obviously the curiosity is about any sort of franchise you can do that with, but that seems like the time for that game. Ghostwire Tokyo has been delayed to early 2022.
There it is.
Saw
Let it
that
cook,
coming.
right?
Yeah, I felt about time. Like we were waiting for that delay.
Right.
So it's no surprise.
They talked about their health in the statement, so they were just like, we get to make the game we want to make, and we're all happy here, so
Totally.
let it cook. I'm not sure if I have the same sentiment towards Resident Evil ReVerse, which has been delayed to quote-unquote 2022. Not even a month, dude.
Shut
Not
it
even a
down.
month.
Shut it down.
What
what is this?
bar of quality
What is this?
does Resident Evil ReVerse have to hit that it hasn't hit 3 times already?
What is this?
If this is not a complete overhaul where you completely redesign the game, I mean, if you make it more like Left 4 Dead or something, otherwise,
Right.
just shut it down.
Shut it down.
Just
You
shut
know
it
what's
down. Use
funny?
those resources elsewhere.
What reminded me of this was I actually finally after I beat Ratchet and Clank and Lego Builder's Journey and Ynglet, I finally put in my disc for Resident Evil Village and started last night.
Yeah, nice.
But with the disc version, it comes with the printed code. And I'm like, how long is that code good for?
Oh, I saw this. They were encouraging people to like use it.
Use the code.
They were like, use it so you don't have to worry about it. Like you'll be.
Oh no.
Yeah. They should just shut it down.
Sounds like there's a lot of people that don't know what's happening with that.
Like
that game, but
Like they just announced DLC for Village, so why don't they just shut this down and then use all those resources on that DLC?
just release a bad version of this game. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just let it happen.
Just get it out.
Just let it be what it is. Like, yeah, it's not some. Again, I don't think, and I say this as a massive fan of Resident Evil. I don't know what Resident Evil fan is like. Please,
No.
just let it. I have Last of Us multiplayer expectations for RE first. It better hit it. We'll see.
Glad I played that beta now because this game's like a year away still. Got my fix.
You played this game. It's not
Yeah.
coming out for it. Let's play a game. Woo! Submitted by G the Finger. We haven't done a game in a little bit. This is games now. That's what we do for games. From G the Finger.
Not amused.
The birth of my son can suck it. My true milestone this year is hitting 200,000 gamer score. From my first achievement in Symphony of the Night in 2008 to completing Mass Effect Legendary Edition on Insanity this weekend, I've taken myself down on a trip down memory lane, and I'm taking y'all with me in a game I call Don't Stop Achieving. Rules are simple. Pick the correct answer from the responses given: adoration and admiration. Number 1. Character action games are known for their difficulty and are among my rarest achievements. Of the following achievements I've earned, which is the most rare? Complete Devil May Cry 5 on Heaven or Hell mode, complete Ninja Gaiden 2 on Path of the Master Ninja mode, or complete Metal Gear Rising on Revengeance difficulty with all S rankings. What is the rarest?
The second
DMC 5, Ninja Gaiden 2, or Metal Gear Rising?
Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden 2.
He knew what he was doing with Ninja Gaiden. It is Devil May Cry 5 on Heaven or Hell mode.
I was gonna say
Earned
that
by
really screwed me.
0.42% of players. Less than half of 1%.
Jeez.
The Master Chief Collection boasts a whopping 700 achievements and 7,000 gamer score. Of the following, which is the most commonly earned? Complete 10 missions or multiplayer matches, complete any co-op mission on normal or above, or kill 100 grunts.
First one.
Kill 100 grunts.
Kill 100
C.
grunts. Kill 100 grunts.
Second.
Kill 100 grunts.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear Damiani's
C.
answer. Oh, okay. Are you jumping on
Wait,
this crazy
no,
bandwagon?
No. I want the first one.
Okay.
The missions.
Your grunts, Isla's grunts, and what are your B?
Yeah.
Grunts, baby, earned by 46%.
Woo!
Woo!
Jones tricked you, Huber.
Yeah, he did. It's because a lot of people will just play the campaign and not multiplayer.
It's true.
Yeah.
Sure.
Xbox games may not have a platinum equivalent, but if they did, which of the following games has the highest achievement completion percentage taken from games I have platinumed?
This is fun.
What Remains of Edith Finch, Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Burning Earth, or Dead Space?
Avatar.
What was the first one?
What Remains of Edith Finch
That one.
And it has the highest what?
has the highest completion, meaning over any Xbox games, people 100%ed this one. There's no platinum.
Okay.
So they don't mark that specific. You just get the total amount of gamer
Edith
score.
Finch is a good
Yeah,
guess.
Edith Finch.
It's
Edith
short.
Finch.
Edith Finch, I guess.
Avatar.
Avatar is it, and I'm
Nice.
surprised you don't know that. You don't
Whoa.
remember. This is an infamous
Yeah,
gamer
yeah.
score. You can get this gamer score in
You only play this for
15
the gamer score.
minutes, I think, or something. It's literally like do the tutorial and you're done.
Whoa.
For what I remember, and it's
That's
such
why
a
they changed the rules.
such a random thing, but good to have Dami on here for that. Who needs bronze, silver, and gold? Let's give random numbers to our achievements. Which
I
of the
love
following
bronze
achievements
trophies.
has the highest given gamer score from those I have won? Which of the following achievements has the highest gamer score? Complete every mission in Halo Reach alone on Legendary, find the pot of gold in Band Hero, or view ending D in Nier, the 360 version.
Band
First
hero.
One.
Complete every mission in Halo Reach alone on Legendary.
Yeah.
I'll go with the last one.
Go with the last one.
Isla takes that. Pot of gold in Band Hero, 490 gamer score.
Jeez.
That's a lot. Who knows how easy or hard that is to do?
Why not go straight 500 at that rate?
I don't know. Yeah, it just doesn't. Yeah, the math doesn't work out. It's like when you're rolling characters in D&D. You're like, mathematically that doesn't look right, but I gotta go. And 5, always more kingdoms left to conquer. Of these, I have not won. Which is the most rare? Acquire every item in Octopath Traveler, Receive the commendation for delivering 50 fruit crates on time in Sea of Thieves. Or complete Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus on Mein Leben difficulty.
Second one.
Fruit crates. That sounds so annoying.
Second one, yeah.
First one.
50 fruit crates.
Every I'm
item
gonna
on
items.
Octopath Traveler. You're all wrong. That's Wolfenstein: The New Colossus on Mein Leben difficulty, earned by 0.01.
Wow.
What?
Wow.
That's like
The heck is
that's like 8 people.
Did they
Mine-
add to that?
Wolfenstein is really hard.
But wait,
Yes.
Mein
It's
Leben?
very hard.
Mein Leben?
Mein Leben.
That means like my favorite or my love. Is that the easiest or the hardest?
I guess that's the hardest.
It's
I would
gotta
assume.
be the hardest.
It's got to be the hardest.
Ah.
I wonder if they added it after the fact just to make that percentage even
I think
lower.
that
you
was
know?
I think that was an infamous death sounds from Wolfenstein. Mein Leben when they went. I don't know.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
Maybe.
because people say it's
Because
my
Wolfenstein-
Leben or whatever.
Put
Oh
my
no, it
retro
means my
hat on.
life. That's right.
Wolfenstein was one of the first franchises to have sound in it. I think on a PC. It was one of the
Liebe
first. But
would
it was
be
like,
love.
it's like, I think that's German. What is that?
Oh, voices.
Yeah, that Wolfenstein franchise.
Star Fox.
That's a good franchise, right?
Nintendo voice
Woo!
line.
I could talk about Wolfenstein for 30 seconds.
Love Wolfenstein.
Oh, I was like, what's happening?
You failed.
Wolfenstein.
Huber at least said something. Damiani and
Wolfenstein.
Bloodward said-
I liked
absolutely
Youngblood. I liked
completely-
Wolfenstein Youngblood. I played it with Grumbum. It was fun.
Grumbum.
Grumbum.
Shout out.
Here we go.
It was fun.
It is now time for love and respect.
Love and respect.
Sounding good today, Rufus.
Yeah, he sounded a little bit better. He got a little dust from the move back into the studio, but he's feeling when those lights come on, he feels it. You look good in purple, Rufus. From James Davey, what's your favorite menu or start screen theme? I think Ocarina of Time intro theme is perfect and absolutely stunning.
That would be Castlevania 64 easily.
It's funny because mine is Symphony of the Night.
Yeah,
The,
Symphony of the Night is amazing.
and I don't even think it's the main menu. I think it's like when you pick your name or something. That it's called
Yeah.
Prayer on the album.
Oh,
Yeah, that one's really good.
Castlevania 64 is an actual the vampire playing the violin. It's so
Yeah.
sick. It's so
Bloodborne's
sick.
is really good. It was also my theme for like ever.
I'm just gonna steal that Symphony tonight because that is just glorious.
Good one.
Yeah, Symphony of
Then
the
I'll
Night is
take
the
a
best
different one if you want to take that one. Shout out to Mass Effect. It's interesting because
Oh,
I
yeah,
wonder
yeah.
what theme the Mass Effect Legendary Edition is, because when you go into each individual game, they have their own default, and the main theme is different. So I wonder if that's from 3 or 1, or I'm actually want to look that up and see what that is, because I've been streaming Mass Effect 1, and I just let that menu theme play for just a little bit because it sets
wait.
sets the tone.
Wait a minute. Well, Halo is one, right? But also,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Fucking-
Good loading screen.
fucking pre-patch Dragon's Dogma, baby. Into free.
That's not the menu screen though. That's the
Yeah,
like,
no, that's the menu.
That's the intro, isn't it? Before the menu.
No, you leave it sitting on the menu and it would do it, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shout out to Combat Evolved's
'Cause
loading
we're talking about where
song.
like it's literally saying press start.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Because and you never hear the Into Free part because the intro of Into Free is like 30 seconds of like violins.
I let The Life is Strange main menu. I just chill out to that all the time. Before the Storm, I remember that one. Just has this really good jam in the background. It's like at the park, the wind is blowing. It's really nice.
Yeah, there's so many good ones, and they even mentioned Ocarina of Time. So Super Mario 64, just because you can mess with Mario's face on that screen right there. It's like, yeah, I give him sunglasses. It's kind of funny.
I got the code like a week or so early for Spider-Man, and that theme stopped me dead in my tracks in the middle of my living room. I was literally just walking somewhere with my PS4 controller and stopped. Like,
So good.
oh, it's gonna be like that, Insomniac. I've said
Shout
that many
out.
times before, but
Shout out to the DVD menu music for Die Hard,
nice.
which I've fallen asleep to and woken up in the basement of my old house like 300 times.
Nice.
I have a new number one.
Oh, here we go.
Max Payne.
Really?
Oh my god, that jam. It's
Really?
it's epic.
Whoa.
It's like the really epic one. You know it.
I don't.
It's like the piano gets really slow, then also really intense. You know it.
I feel like I'm being attacked right now.
You know it, Joe.
Attacked by music.
There's so many good. I mean,
I probably do. I just
Metal
can't.
Gears.
Dark Souls 3.
That
Every
was very
freaking
good.
time.
We heard that,
Pushing
we
start.
heard that a lot.
I'm not pushing start. I don't care how good this game is.
It's
Metal
out
Gear.
of control.
Solid.
Yep.
Good.
From the Muffin Man,
Fun one.
the current exodus from WoW to Final Fantasy XIV potentially represents a monumental shift in the industry. WoW may no longer be the king of MMOs. What are the implications that come with the destabilization of a section of the industry that has had an established hierarchy for nearly 2 decades? Will Blizzard be forced to make radical changes to WoW? Can Final Fantasy XIV manage to hold on to this influx of players? Will this inspire other companies to try and enter a space now that there may be a void to fill? Would love to hear your thoughts. Your thoughts.
Well, the Blizzard end is that, I don't know what Blizzard does at this point. I'm not the Blizzard person, so this is a self-inflicted wound. Like, it wasn't, 14 has always been garnering praise. A lot of people have been like saying how good it has been for a long time. And it took 2 back-to-back expansions from Blizzard upsetting its player base and finally some of their long-standing veterans, their biggest influencers, to finally try out 14 and saying they love it, and there you go. So it's like, this was technically sort of preventable if, Blizzard had, I don't know, just done a better job, I guess is a nice way to put it. But I don't think it was solely on 14, like, being, like, it's a great game, and I love it, but, like, clearly Blizzard allowed this to happen.
Okay, there's a pie in front of you of literally only people that have never played Final Fantasy XIV in their lives, but always have played WoW and have just lost it with Blizzard. They've canceled their accounts. They've uninstalled it. They're downloading Final Fantasy XIV tonight and playing it. What's the retention percentage of people that actually go, oh, it's my game? Because I don't know, how much of WoW have you played? Like, what do you think
We played.
is that a shock to the system?
There's a lot, that's a bad question for me if you actually know why I didn't stick with WoW. One, it doesn't have proper controller support. If 14 didn't have controller support, I probably wouldn't be playing 14 as much as it did because I don't like mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
It's not for me. And there's some other
Except for FTL,
and
right?
it's dated.
Yeah.
Well, FTL is like 2 buttons, so it's like whatever.
15 years now.
I think it's
More than that.
I think it's gonna hold. I think it's gonna keep players around for a while. The bit there is one barrier. It is the original A Realm Reborn. There's a whole interesting discussion we don't really need to get into right here. But for the most part, I think a lot of people will be sticking around with it because of the now meme. It is now free to play up to level 60 through the 2nd expansion of Heaven's Ward. And that's when it gets like really good. And that's where when people get there, whether by playing the game or skipping ahead to it, they're like, oh yeah, this is great. And now all their friends are coming over and they're playing with it to the fact that we're at the point where you can't buy, I don't know if it's now, but as of recently, you could not even buy the game digitally because Square Enix had to lock out the game because all servers were at capacity.
Yeah. If you buy it, you were on a waiting list.
And it is in a low. This is
like that, dude. What a power move!
Such a power
To put
move.
it
Can you just?
perspective,
I wonder if there's a backdoor shady text going on
Yeah.
between Square Enix and Blizzard. Like, how's your waiting list going over there, Blizzard?
Well,
Of
that's
course
the-
not,
well, that's
probably,
the thing.
but I like to think
Yoshi
so.
P loves Western RPGs, and he really likes Blizzard, and he's like looked to them for like inspiration and stuff, which is kind of interesting. But this is normally a lull period. This is like the most inactive period in a expansion cycle of Final Fantasy 14,
Wow.
and it's doing this now.
Yeah.
So it's like when Endwalker hits November, it's like oh shit.
Yeah.
It's like uh-oh.
Yeah, because numbers are so weird. Because like I know this is happening right now, but then I went on like Twitch last night and it was like 130,000 watching WoW and like 20 watching 14. So it is weird depending if like what time of day it is, who's streaming. Like just a couple streamers
Right.
can drive your game through the roof. So it's a pretty big moment. I don't think
Monumental moment.
I don't think monumental.
It's just business, right?
Yeah, I don't think monumental. I think these are the 2 titans of the MMOs, and they have been for a very long time.
They had to cancel Titan actually.
These are the 2.
Wow.
MMOs are always trying to muscle in. You have like your lesser tier ones that are still big, like Elder Scrolls Online is still around, going strong.
Yeah.
I want to see what happens when New World enters the market.
Well, I think
at the end of next month.
I think that bouncing around happens a lot. I hear about people that try out new trials or check out betas and stuff like that, or maybe like have compared how much they played one MMO compared to based on expansion content. So like, oh, I played a little bit of everything, but I just really enjoyed these games around this time.
I hope
It feels different with these 2 games, though. It really feels like, whoa, that those players going to that game is a lot bigger than people switching from various multiplayer games.
To me, the bigger deal with all this is just another hit to Blizzard yet again. Like this company now is just on the ropes. Like I and I don't just speak for just myself, you know, the allies in general, like you asked us a couple years ago and we love Blizzard. We champion Blizzard. We cannot wait for these games. And now the excitement is in the negatives where their announcements are going to be met with, you know, skepticism and like, no, wait and see versus them, you know, again, just years ago announcing anything. And it's like a huge deal. So to me, that's the bigger story amid all this. Because like you said, Damiani, 14 has been killing it for a while. But obviously the big influx of players is big too.
As I mentioned earlier, Nickelodeon just like had a really nice week with their new Smash Brothers game. Rahul Masal wants to know if we have any other, and I believe we talked about this somewhat recently. I just want to get an official list here of other franchises we think are big enough for brawls. I'm thinking about Sony lately because people were talking about
PlayStation
like,
All-Stars.
just the whole vibe of PlayStation All-Stars. Just that, you know,
Like a brawl game or just like a fighter with everyone in it?
a fighter with everyone in it. It doesn't have to be specifically brawl-esque, but
Capcom can do their own.
Yeah.
And Square Enix
so like
could do their
not
own.
not something for Nickelodeon, not like a
Yeah.
Those
missing
are good ones.
character.
Right.
Capcom and
Smash
Square
Bros.
Enix.
style
Right.
game,
Yeah.
Yeah.
similar to how Nickelodeon's been
Capcom
doing
and
it.
Square Enix still. Yeah.
Smash Souls.
Capcom is pretty easy one.
That's a really good one, Damiani.
Sorry, broken record. Star Wars every time. Star
No,
Wars.
it-
One
hell
Star Wars
yeah.
fighting game since 1975. One Star Wars.
A brawl style Star Wars game, Jabba the Hutt. Let's go.
Yes, dude.
Jabba the Hutt Final Smash.
Slither.
What's
Yes,
that
dude.
gonna
Wanna
be?
slither around.
From JG. Also, recently Nickelodeon announced their own Smash-like fighting game. The game will have rollback netcode, and from looking at the trailer, it seems pretty fun. I definitely saw some fun memes and hype on the internet for the game recently. My question to you all is, who would you want to be in this game the most? What should their hypothetical final Smash be? If Carl from Jimmy Neutron isn't in it, I will riot. I saw some people shouting for all that. Was it all that? Was that like their SNL?
Yes.
And they were like all the people on the like the most famous
Yeah,
meme
dude.
characters
Keenan,
from that being
Good
fighters.
burger.
Or like summons. Maybe you just have one cast member and then they can bring in a bunch of other people. Drake and Josh.
I want Mark Summers.
Yo.
Mark Summers.
Oh,
I saw
dude.
Mark Summers on vacation, and my dad went up to him. He goes, "Are you Mark Summers?" He goes, "Yes, I am." That was it. That was the encounter.
Mark Summers hosted a show called Unwrapped, I think, on Food Network.
Yeah, I think
that
so.
went into like how candy is packaged.
Sick.
Glued to my television every time. It's fascinating.
Love
you
the
know.
man.
Can you
Factories
play
making
as-
chocolates. Like, yes.
Can you play as Olmec?
Probably not. He should definitely be a stage.
Definitely be
Yeah.
a stage.
I would love
That'll be a state.
Aggro Crag.
Yeah, I want to be Mo. I want to be Mo
Oh
from
my
Guts.
gosh.
I want to be Alex Mack.
Dude, we got. Wait, did Nickelodeon? Do they still own Doug?
Yes.
Hell
Dude,
yeah.
Doug better be in it.
Roger Klotz, dude. Bruiser.
Yes. That stage better be like, oh my gosh, yes.
I don't necessarily want all the parents from Rugrats, but like having Grandpa be in Rugrats, I think would feel right for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
He was always involved a lot more in their shenanigans than the folks were.
Yeah.
But maybe he can summon in the parents, or maybe like they were trying to help him. It's time for bets. Next week's bet, Last Stop, launches on July 22nd, the same day we record the next episode of this podcast. That is a fun game about aliens and body swapping and weird stuff happening.
It's
How
also a
long?
Dave Matthews song.
Okay. Is the Dave Matthews song in the game?
I don't know.
We'll see. How long will the end credits be? Michael Damiani.
The Matthews
3 minutes.
free.
Okay.
Damn it, Damiani. 2:55.
Oh, well, no. You want to
Ah.
diversify? Isla Hank.
3 minutes, 12 seconds.
Ooh.
Oh.
Dan
Cornering the
Bloodworth.
market there.
Bloodworth
418.
went high. I went low. 155. I was hoping you were going to go high after I wrote that
Yo,
down.
fair
Last.
competition. What's up?
Okay, there we go.
Nice
Feeling
grouping.
bullish.
Last week's bet, Space Jam: A New Legacy, the game, launched on July 15th.
Oh, I'm so curious about this bet.
I want to know right now how many channels are streaming it on Twitch. Brad Ellis bet 30. Michael Huber bet hard 8 and drew
Hard
a
eight.
picture of
Hard
dice.
Hard 8. Hard 8.
Remember that? Isla Hank bet 3 and I bet 44. I was really hoping
Yo, we should have a triple
for some
beat 'em up
success.
I
next
just
Mike and
searched
Mike.
it and nothing came up. Hang on.
We should play Space Jam, Cobra
Hey,
Kai,
all right.
and Mr.
Zero
X
would be
Nightmare.
hilarious.
Don't be that cocky, all right? Okay? 5 channels are streaming it right now, okay? So it's not nothing.
Nice.
How many did Huber say?
8.
I
Yeah.
said 3.
I know if Huber said
Oh,
7, you
Isla.
both would have won. You would have been right in the middle.
Wait, aren't you? Oh, yeah, it's two-way.
But that
It's
is
5, not
closer.
6.
At 5, that is closer to Isla. So Isla takes the win.
Nice.
Sorry.
Take it
It's
down.
still our team.
Sorry, Enforcer.
Yeah.
Bringing our scores too. Jovial Penguin, 17.
Quote here.
Where'd my damn quote link go? Oh.
Windows update. What?
No, Chrome changed it. Oh.
Chrome update.
Vociferous Beavers, 13.
Nom 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 nom.
Boy, I sure get a lot of heat for making mistakes on this podcast, putting ads in front of Patreon videos where there shouldn't be ads. Nobody ever gives Isla heat for forgetting her penguin quote
It's discretionary.
or Damiani. Man,
Well, I'm not in front of a thing anymore, so I can't look it up like in the 10 minutes before we're about to get here. I'm like, oh yeah, I should get a quote ready.
Yo, play Streets of Rage 4. Play that DLC. It's so good. Oh my goodness.
How about this? I think penguins are cute. Zoe Deschanel.
Acceptable.
Okay.
good quote. Let me tell you about patreon.com/easyallies and purchase intent. You don't have to have purchase intent to go over to patreon.com/easyallies because we got a lot of fun content over there, a lot of fun updates and stuff that's going on with the business. We are primarily supported on patreon.com/easyallies. It is a massive chunk of our operating costs every single month. We grow with Patreon. So if you want to see Easy Allies grow, if you enjoyed this show, if you want to check out other content that we do, or if you want to help us make more, patreon.com/easyallies. Easy Allies. Easy. You can get this podcast 2 days early on Fridays instead of Sundays if you would like to, the day after we record it for just $5. And you can be a part of Love and Respect and a lot of other fun things that we do on this podcast here and there. Our shout out tier is the very top tier that we have on patreon.com/easyallies. We like to shout them out on as many shows as we can, and we will shout them out thusly. I will go, then all of you will go after me. Shout out to Blue, Caleb Atogi Crawford, Dave McKilligan, Edsger, So I'm a Spider, So What? Elfanis, Esdocal, Greg the Dark Knight Kettering, and Nick. Shout out.
Out.
Isla, you won the podcast. You get to promote any Easy Allies video you'd like to promote. You get the final word on anything you've disagreed with, want to reiterate, or just popped into your head. And you get to sign off with your trademark sign off.
Shoot, I don't know. Elise and I reunited and did Mandatory Update again. So please watch that. And Jones was on it, and he did Phil Spencer, and it was really funny.
You meant to say we got Phil Spencer, and it was a good get.
Huh?
Phil Spencer came in the studio. We're back in the studio.
You
Phil
guys look
Spencer,
so
everybody.
similar. I thought it was you doing a bit, but it was actually him, I guess. Okay. Very nice guy. Very weird guy.
Very giving.
Yeah. I didn't disagree with anything. I'll just say, like, stay healthy. Good night and good game. Bye.
We're talking Steam games, so 64 gigs ain't gonna get you nothing.
Yeah. Shut it down. Shut it down.